today we're going to talk about the two classes of citizens in every state. So basically what it is to be a national and how to fill out government forms. We're just going to start off with the difference between a U.S. citizen and an American national or a state citizen. Okay, so we'll just click on this article, U.S. citizens have no rights or own any property. Okay, so U.S. citizens do not own anything, which I think people are going to have a hard time wrapping their mind around that one. U.S. citizens do not have rights as we the people. U.S. citizens do not have rights over their children, so your children are not your property. That's a fun one. U.S. citizens do not have the right to marry. They do not have the right to have access to the national credit. U.S. citizens do not know who they are. If they did, they would quickly change their status. They do not know where they are. You're on the land. You're not in the state. Know the game they're playing. They do not know they are 14th Amendment slaves. They do not know the government are corporations. They do not know they are U.S. government employees. They do not know they are dead person corporations. They do not know they have been human trafficked into a foreign nationality. They do not have the right to challenge the national debt. They do not have standing to enforce the employment contract or constitutions. That's why so many people are in jail for victimless crimes. Yeah, okay. U.S. citizens do. We'll get it more positive. U.S. citizens do have revocable privileges. U.S. citizens, yeah, that's fun. U.S. citizens do pay sales and income taxes. U.S. citizens need marriage licenses, need driver's licenses. They need to obey legislation as U.S. government employees. They need to obey executive orders. They need to obey mandates. They need to register property. They have responsibility for the national debt. They have to register for the draft. They live in a democracy, not a republic. I know we've been indoctrinated to think that this democracy is this great thing, but take the Constitution class by Michael Badnarik, and that will make things make more sense and set you on the right path, or a path to enlightenment. I don't even want to say right or wrong, but I digress. They need occupational licenses. A friend of mine gave me this document. There's two classes of citizens in every state. Right here. And of course I made all my own changes because you need to, anytime you fill out a government form, anytime you're going to check a box saying that you're a U.S. citizen, you do not want to check that box because that basically waives all your rights. And people are complaining about rights. My rights are being violated. Well, you don't know that you're 14th Amendment slaves. So how do you change that? Super simple. It's just paperwork, really, and then research and knowing who you are. Okay, so there's two classes of citizens every state. So I'm just going to go through the document with you. Dear Department of Homeland Security or Social Security Administration, or anytime you have to fill out any sort of government form, I would include this document with it. Okay, I am a jus, and you can change, whatever words, and you can simplify it. Okay, so I'm a jus sanguinis state citizen, member of the body politic of both the republic and the nation. I'm providing constitutional case law that proves there are two classes of citizens in our nation today, because on my petition for Social Security, under item 36 or box wherever, or whatever it's titled, it only gives two choices, so I had to check other. Even though I'm a Californian and born on land not lost at sea, I cannot be both a U.S. citizen or birthright citizen and a state citizen of one of the several states. I must be one or the other, and since you only have a checkbox for either a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, I must check other. to remain in order to petition the Department of XYZ. The following are the actual laws from the Supreme Court of the United States to prove what I'm telling you is true. The 39th Congress created the actual class of U.S. citizen, which is also considered an organization, an association, or a corporation in the eyes of the law. These definitions are also included in our own state statuses under the Uniform Commercial Code in Title 11, which all other states now have in their own code as well, located at subsection 11-1-201, bracket 27, which defines a person as: person means an individual, corporation, business trust, estate, trust, partnership, limited liability company, association, joint venture, governmental subdivision, agency or instrumentality, public corporation, or any other legal or commercial entity. This definition for a person is describing all U.S. citizens, and all of them are also considered by law as a resident citizens of the District of Columbia, which is not a state, which also makes it foreign to the states. That's why people in the District of Columbia, quote unquote, can't vote. But that's another topic, which, who cares about that? The law explains how it works. We therefore decline to overrule the opinion of Chief Justice Marshall. We hold that the District of Columbia is not a state within Article 3 of the Constitution. See? In other words, cases between citizens of the district and those of the states were not included in the catalog of controversies which the Congress could give jurisdiction to the federal courts by virtue of Article 3. In other words, Congress has exclusive legislation jurisdiction over citizens of Washington, District of Columbia, and through their plenary power, nationally covers those citizens even when in one of the several states, as through the district, expands for the purpose of regulating its citizens wherever they go throughout the states of the Union. National Mutual Insurance Company of the District of Columbia v. Tidewater Transfer Company 337, 1948. And what Justice Marshall said was this: two national governments exist, one to be maintained under the Constitution with all its restrictions, and the other to be maintained by Congress outside and independently of that instrument. Dissenting opinion of Justice Marshall Harlan, Downs v. Bedwell. To further this point, there is, in our political system, a government of each of the several states and a government of the United States. Each is distinct from the other and has citizens of its own. U.S. v. Crookshanks. It's a Harry Potter throwback. and this brings us to two distinct citizenship classes within the states. One may be a citizen of a state and yet not a citizen of the United States. Thomason v. State, 15. And finally, there is a clear distinction between national citizenship and state citizenship. State citizen case law, U.S. v. Anthony. The term resident and citizen of the United States is distinguished from a citizen of one of the several states, in that the former is a special class of citizen created by Congress. We have in our political system a government of the United States and a government in each of the several states. Each one of these governments is distinct from the others, and each has citizens of its own. United States versus Crookshanks. He was not a citizen of the United States. He was a citizen and a voter of the state. One may be a citizen of the state and yet not a citizen of the United States. Oh, there we go. That there is a citizenship of the United States and a citizenship of a state. Tashiro v. Jordan. A citizen of the United States is a citizen of the federal government. Kitchens v. Steele. Taxpayers are not, de jure, state citizens. Belmont v. Town of Gulfport. State v. Manuel. The term citizen in the United States is analogous to the term subject in common law. The change of phrase has resulted from the change in government. Supreme Court Jones v. Temer. The Privileges and Immunities Clause of the 14th Amendment protects very few rights because it neither incorporates the Bill of Rights nor protects all rights of individual citizens. Instead, this provision protects only those rights peculiar to being a citizen of the federal government. It does not protect those rights which relate to the state citizenship. Supreme Court U.S. v. Valentine. The only absolute and unqualified right of the United States citizen is to residence within the territorial boundaries of the United States. The Amendment 14th recognized that an individual can be a citizen of one of the several states without being a citizen of the United States, U.S. v. Anthony, or a citizen of the United States without being a citizen of a state. Slaughterhouse cases. Ooh. Again, this is U.S. v. Cruikshank. A more recent case, which says, both before and after the 14th Amendment to the federal Constitution, it has not been necessary for a person to be a citizen of the United States in order to be a citizen of his state. The courts presume you are a federal citizen without even telling you that there are different classes of citizens. It is up to you to dispute this. So you can absolutely dispute this with paperwork and, doing your own research. Unless the defendant can prove he is not a citizen of the United States, the IRS has a right to inquire and determine a tax liability. There are then, under our Republican form of government, two classes of citizens, one of the United States and one of the state, lowercase s. Gardena v. Board of Registrars of Jefferson County. The governments of the United States and of each state of the several states are distinct from one another. The rights of a citizen under one may be quite different from those which he has under oath. Colgate versus Harvey. All right, another quote. Rights of national citizenship as distinct from the fundamental or natural rights inherent in state citizenship. Madden v. Kentucky, 1940. There is a difference between privileges and immunities belonging to the citizens of the United States as such, and those belonging to citizens of each state as such. Rustrat v. People. The first 8 amendments have uniformly been held not to be protected from state action by the privileges by the Privilege and Immunities Clause of the 14th Amendment. Haig v. CIO. The right to trial by jury in several cases guaranteed by the 7th Amendment and the right to bear arms guaranteed by the 2nd Amendment have been distinctly held not to be privileges and immunities of citizens of the United States, lowercase citizen of the United States, capital U and S, guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. And in effect, the same decision was made in respect of the guarantee against prosecution, except by indictment of a grand jury, contained in the 5th Amendment, and in respect of the right to be confronted with witnesses, contained in the 6th Amendment, it was held that the indictment made indispensable by the 5th Amendment and the trial by jury guaranteed by the 6th Amendment were not privileges and immunities of citizens of the United States, as those were used in the 14th Amendment. We conclude, therefore, that the exemption from compulsory self-incrimination is not a privilege or immunity of national citizenship guaranteed by this clause of the 14th Amendment. Twining v. New Jersey. The following are some of the citizenship questions you will see in various government forms styled in a way to deceive you out of your rights secured by the original Constitution of our Republic. United States of America and the original state constitutions. They have stopped using the term state citizen on all the forms for the purpose of constructive fraud, and fraud vitiates all contracts. Remember that a state citizen is not a national of the United States, but it's a national of the United States of America. See 8 U.S.C. subsection 1101A 21. The term state national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. This is a state citizen. 22. The term national of the United States means A, a citizen, lowercase c, of the United States, or B, a person who, through not a citizen of the United States, owes permanent allegiance to the United States. 23. The term nationalization means the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. It's kind of weird. There exists mountains of supporting evidence and court decisions regarding my true status, and it seems absolutely preposterous to require anyone to jump over obstacles in order to expatriate from tyranny. Again, this is one of the most important decisions of your life, my life, so I do not approach it in a cavalier manner. That's why it's really important to have this solidly in your mind and get to know all the case law so that you have that solid foundation moving forward when you're dealing with the de facto government and its employees. Again, this is one of the most important decisions of my life, so I do not approach it in a cavalier manner. I ask the good Lord for direction before making that decision, or source, or whatever you want to call it. Notice that taxes are not even a consideration, as having taxes as one's motivating reason makes an attempt a complete failure. Conclusion. On every front, with blinding speed and inexhaustible power, the evil forces of darkness of the New World Order, this is funny, but it's true, the New World Order are closing a ring of fire on freedom. In every domain and field of human endeavor, the choking, suffocating idolatry permeates all fields of human thought, corrupting our language, destroying truth and justice, demolishing integrity and virtue, enacting totalitarian legislation, and controlling education and communications. Which concludes this fact of law. Such construction ignores the rights of a state in virtue of its sovereignty to confer citizenship within its own limits, where the rights incident to such a status are not the citizenship in the federal constitution. It does not follow that because one of all the rights and privileges of a citizen of a state, he must be a citizen of the United States. Such a distinction has long been recognized in this county. See Scott v. Sanford. Also see Dred Scott v. Sanford, U.S. 393. As you can see, I am a state citizen of one of the several states, a true Californian, and not a U.S. citizen or birthright citizen as defined by the law and affirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. With this in mind, please process my application for replacement of my Social Security card as a state citizen or whatever you're trying to process or get. Obviously, this option is not available on your form, but I am indeed a jus sanguinis or sanguini state citizen. Therefore, I cannot be a U.S. citizen, and that is the reason I am checking other on the form. I hope that was helpful. Again, I'll be posting this on my website. Have a great day.
Neil, you're going to get a shock. 180 volts.
I can't stand the pain. One can only wonder what government, with its vastly greater authority and prestige, can command of its subjects.